Welcome to episode 9 of the OSO Spurs podcast, off the back of a much-needed win against Southampton, Nottingham Forest. And today we've got with us Si.
Hello.
Stu.
Hello, everyone.
And a very hungover Jonny.
Oh no, I'm fresh as a daisy, mate.
Yeah. You are welcoming in a number of fans to the stadium by the sounds of things.
Yes, that's true.
Jonny, and I want to hear more about that, actually. Yeah, how was the game? What did you make of it in the ground?
It was good. I was with a mate of mine called Paul. It was his third Tottenham match, so he's got 100% win. So there's certain people kind of bring along. I definitely bring them again. I mean, it wasn't exactly challenging opposition. Forest were diabolical. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, we still, however, could have let in a fair few goals. Like obviously the penalty, the header from Aurier, which that would have been ironic, wouldn't it? Great save from Forster, and obviously they did get the goal at the back post there in the second half. That was really shit defending. Nobody marking your man at all, or nobody watching him. But Tottenham played well, and it was inside 3 minutes the goal from Richarlison. Brilliant finish, incredible through ball from Skip, and you think, Jesus, like, I really couldn't believe that was ruled off. Didn't think it would be, and saw the sort of still shot at halftime, and people are all looking at the freeze frame, thinking, how the hell are they calling that? It's like bonkers. But Tottenham actually played pretty well. I think there was quite a few good performances, and it was really nice. I was really pleased Richarlison started after what happened during the week after the Milan game, his interview, that he got the opportunity, apart from the goal that was chopped off, and he got an assist in there as well. And just he did what he does best, what he did at patches earlier in the season, and working really, really hard, like great determination, like this, again, a stereotypical South American kind of just really dogged, physical, tenacious, unsettling defenders, closing down, worked so hard, and kind of can't help but keep making the comparison with Sonny. And like Sonny actually took his goal really well yesterday when he scored, but there was another one he had a little bit later on, which was a very timid shot that went out that the keeper's left. He really, like, the prime Sonny would have had, like, just put that away, like, without thinking twice. So there were flickers of the old Sonny, but I think Richarlison like outshone him by him. And yeah, I think Skip was really strong again. I'm really, just him getting a run of games now. You can sort of see that he's far more than Winks ever was, I think. And that's sort of the bonus from the one bonus from the whole Bentancur situation. So yeah, Paro very good as well, especially going forward, like putting in some good crosses, which is something we're not used to seeing from the right hand side. And then, like I said, yeah, Forster really did a good job. I think, thank God, we've got him. Like, a great signing he was, actually. I think he was a bit culpable for the goal. I suppose definitely more than made up for, though, the penalty save and the other stop from Aurier. So I think there's a lot to feel positive about, and it is ridiculous. Like, after the conversations we've had over the last week or two, to be kind of back where we are now again, especially after United just dropping the points, you're now beginning to look up and not just somewhat over your shoulder at Liverpool. It's very, very strange. So I guess it's a much more positive view of things. And it was good. It was really nice to go to a game and not be stressed and quite enjoy quite a bit of the football. So yeah, it's good day.
Glad to hear
and we
it.
made some nice friends afterwards.
Cool.
From all sorts of places, Aberdonians and Koreans all at once.
There you go.
Very strange. Great crack though.
The beauty of football.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that was the feedback from inside the stadium. How was it from Dubai and Brazil, guys? Should we start with you, Stu? How's it going over there? What you make of the game?
It was good. I mean, that first half, I think, I was shocked by how poor Forest were. I think it's the worst side we've played all season. I was really impressed with Richarlison. I thought it's such a shame, obviously, that the goal was disallowed. That it didn't count for his confidence, especially the way he finished off. I think shows it's not a man who doubts himself, because that was an amazing finish. And that pass from Skip, I think, you know, what's his name, Alistair Gold has often said that that Skippy's not a sideways pass merchant, a bit like Pink Winks is, but he is far more progressive. And I think now that he's had that run of games, you're beginning to see what he's really got in his arsenal. He's got the confidence to try the long passes, and as you said, Jonny, I think he's come on leaps and bounds, and I think it, sometimes I wish our fan base wouldn't be so reactionary after seeing someone play for 20 minutes after they haven't played for about 6 months,
Yeah.
because all our players need a bit of rhythm. I mean, it's not just our players; any player needs rhythm. It's one thing doing it on the training ground; it's another thing doing it on the field with your teammates in a match that really counts. And we're seeing that with Forster, we're seeing that with Skip. Maybe even Royale, when he actually got one game after another, you saw that his performance actually started to improve. Um, so I think this is, my main gripe with Conte as well, that the fact he doesn't get the game time for the squad players when they are needed, they're kind of undercooked. And then they struggle, and of course, then the whole side struggles, and the rest of it. But I think, as we were mentioning before, I think now we're back to one game a week. This is the time of performance, and Conte having a week to prepare tactically for the opposition. I think we're going to have a lot better first halves than we had, after Christmas, and with all the midweek games coming up. So I'm fairly well. I tend to be optimistic anyway, but I'm fairly optimistic that we're going to finish top four. We've got a good run of games coming. I think typical Spurs, we hate the team, we hate the club, we hate the manager, we hate the owners. And then by the end of the season, everyone's going to be singing Antonio, Antonio, and they're going to be gutted when he says, "No, I'm going home now."
That sounds about right. It does. What about you, Si?
Yeah, well, I managed to get the Skylink working this time, so it's a bit more of a reliable feed. And I echo everything that the guys have said. They're so happy for Richie when that goal went in, and it was like, oh my God, what a finish! I mean, he just put the laces straight through it, didn't he? It was gorgeous. And then when you looked at the Shockley Park, my goodness, it was like, just draw the lines that are equally on both players. Don't draw the lines on a hand and an armpit. You can't score with his fucking hand, and he's onside then. And you just felt for him so much. And I think as the game wore on, his frustration did show a little bit. I thought he had a great game. There were a couple of times where he was really trying to be progressive in terms of how he took the ball on the turn to make the runs, and his touch was a bit heavy every so often. But this is coming back to your point, Stu. If he gets a run in the side, then that comes, that match fitness comes, and I think he was always looking to do stuff on the turn, always looking to break, and that we haven't had for a long time. And even for Kane's first goal, it was his battling down in that our right hand channel, right, that won the ball back. Okay, his cross wasn't great, and it had to be rescued by, I think it was Davis, played the ball back
Davies.
across, but it was his battling that got it back into the box in the first place. So I thought he had a great game, and I hope that he gets a run now, because if he doesn't get a run, the message is you can play badly, get dropped, and then get your place back next week. So Decky would be back in. I don't think he deserves to be a starter at the moment above Richarlison. And I think, give him a run, see how he goes, especially against the kind of sides we've got coming up at the moment. Build him some confidence, and I think we've got something there. The other thing that stood out to me was that left-hand side looked a lot more productive yesterday for me with Davis there. And I think that Longley benefits from having a more defensive wing back than when Perisic is there. Perisic is maybe, definitely is a better crosser of the ball than Davis, but Davis is certainly a better defender than Perisic is. And I thought Longley looked a lot more comfortable with the ball and being available for the ball with Davis. And I think Son got more space as well because of that. Because I think when Perisic and Son are playing up that left-hand side, they take each other's space quite a lot, and you see them really quite close to each other. So I thought that was another positive. Skip, outstanding.
Oh,
I
mate,
think, just again echoing you guys, not going to add anything new, but I think he could be, him and Bentancur could be the future of that midfield. If we were to ever play with 2 up front instead of 3, then get a good number 10 in front of them 2. And I think you've got something really, really impressive there. If we went to 3-5, I think that could be really impressive.
With Skip, what I love is he's always trying these forward balls now as well. And it kind of reminds me a bit of the way Harry does it when he picks it up and just tries his audacious kind of balls when he spots someone making a run. And that's something someone like, we always obviously use people like Winks as an example because they're a similar height and they're English and they came from our academy. But apart from that, they're very different midfielders. Skip tries things that we never saw Winks try, but they're both Tottenham boys to the heart, which is why I think we should even be a bit nicer to Winks on a slightly side topic. But and what about Forster as well? So what do you make of him?
I think he had a solid game. I like him more for penalties than I like Lloris for penalties. That's for certain. 6'7" in between the sticks. He's a little bit more difficult to get past. I mean, that penalty from Ayew was awful as well. I mean, there was little power. It was at the right height. It was in the right place, but he still had to make the save, right? But I do also like the fact he comes and claims the ball way more often than Lloris does as well. I'm still not confident when we start playing it around at the back and Romero volleying it back to him in the 6-yard box was a little bit of a scary moment. But yeah, no, I thought he's done everything that's been asked of him at the moment. I don't think he's had a particularly shocking game at all. And yesterday he was pretty good. And
do you think
Romero?
Is Hugo going to come straight back into the team?
Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is.
Because he's Hugo.
Yeah, because he's Hugo.
I'm not sure. I think that's the right move, though. I don't want to be.
He's club captain, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's leaving end of the season, right?
He's more of a liability than.
Most
likely.
Yeah,
but I think so, Johnny. I think I'm not saying it's right that he comes back in, but I think he comes back in.
Yeah, that's what
but you say, Jim, he's leaving at the end of the season, but so is Lucas, and he's getting on before Dan Juma.
But I don't know what Dan Juma's done.
He must.
Do you know what I mean? He's done something to Conte's wife and kids, surely.
Yeah, he's been found with Conte's daughter, hasn't he, or something's going on. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. He could. Oh, mate. And the other thing was as well is Romero stayed on his feet yesterday. He had an outstanding game. When he nutmegged their right winger as well, that was beautiful.
Yeah,
and it was some shit housery going on. He was elbowing the defender into the box on the penalty just in case we could get some encroachment. I love all that, but So I think all round happy days yesterday. First half, I was convinced that it was going to be 4 or 5. Second half, last 20 minutes, it just. I think to your point, Stu, why not blood some of this bench people? 20 minutes, 25 minutes when you're 3 up. When else can you do it? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing that's still. And I'm still Conte out. I still think he's got to go. I'm not one of these ones I'm like indecisive Dave off the Far Show. Yeah, Conte's great, isn't it? Conte, my tactical masterclass. No, he's shit. He had players hate him. Oh, he's rubbish. But he's still got to go. But those substitutions are just. I don't get the substitution strategy that this team have. It just doesn't make any sense.
What about Porro? Guys, what do you make of that performance? Does Royal walk back into the side?
I personally think it depends who we're playing. Because
exactly
you
that.
Still can't defend.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few times in that game where he really cocked up, and I thought if De Bruyne had picked that ball up off you in midfield, we'd be fucked.
Yeah.
But fortunately,
it looks like he's still not even used to the pace of the league as well. I think.
Yeah.
You saw that really obviously in the Leicester game clearly, but there's still signs yesterday and against a weaker opposition when he's on the back foot that he's just not sharp enough for the Premier League from the defensive side of things, but so much better going forward. And he looks like he's quite physical actually. I don't know how big he is. He doesn't look like he's all that big, but he's strong and
stocky, isn't he? Stocky.
really.
And he looks
I
angry.
like this. Yeah,
He looks
exactly.
angry all the time. He looks pissed off.
Yeah, which is good.
He's improving every game, though, I think, as well.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
we've got to be more patient with players. Look at Grealish now. He's taken a long time to find his feet at Man City, but suddenly he's almost looking worth 100 million quid. And I think maybe Porro's going to take 6 months until we're seeing the best of him.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't
he
think you can
run...
go from the Portuguese First Division to the Premier League and just pick up the pace. I mean, that's one of the things that the foreigners always say is they can't believe the pace in the league, right? I think, you know, when we had Luca on the other week, he was saying that's one of the things that the Italians find just super amazing is the pace of the Premier League and how quick the ball moves around. And I think you saw that with Porro a couple of times. He thought he had longer to take a touch, and the defender, their left back, was on him straight away, and it was like, wow. And the ball's pinging away, and I think I can't remember who made the tackle after one of those and got booked. It might have been Dyer. When he got booked in the middle of the park, and I think that was from a Porro, not a miscontrol, but just not being aware of the pace. But that will come. That will come with experience. That will come with time.
Yeah. Great. Do you expect any changes to the lineup against Southampton then on the weekend? Stick with the winning formula and just
you would hope so.
Yeah,
I mean,
even though
because Southampton are a similar sort of team to Forest in terms of they want to play, they'll leave some space. I don't really see a reason why you would change it.
No.
But then again, Conte does a lot of stuff that we don't see the reason why he does it.
There's also no need to rotate when there's one game a week. You'd think he'll just stick to his best team.
Yeah.
Well, how long is Royale out for?
Well, it sounds like it was just a knock and he could be back any day. But we've had this before, haven't we? And then we had this before with Skip, didn't we? And then it was about a year out.
That's right.
So, but it does sound like it's just a knock and he should be back for Southampton.
Because I expect, might not be rushed back for Southampton, but I expect once we play tougher games like Newcastle, that Royale will come back in.
Yeah, I think we'll need him for like Man United away and those kind of fixtures is where you want to chuck him in.
Yeah.
I think the only players who are not sort of in the 11, and I wouldn't make any changes, and I don't think Conte will either, but of the players that aren't getting time, who you sort of feel they've a really strong case to be getting more time. Danjuma, we've already mentioned, to get more time off the bench, and the other one is Sarr, who's really, I think, been really unlucky since the first leg in Milan. He didn't get the nod. It was Skip got the nod after that for the next league game, and then yesterday I think he came on literally in injury time. So
96th minute, I think he came on.
There you go. Yeah.
Well done.
But yeah, otherwise,
yeah. I'm not too worried though. I think he's young enough where we've got time to get him in. I don't feel like him missing out on too many minutes this season is going to hinder him too much. He still looks like such a boy, doesn't he? When he's standing on that touchline, I think, oh my God, you've achieved so much already.
Well, that's what I love about him though, because he's got so much enthusiasm. He just looks happy to be there. Which you look at the rest of the players; they just look miserable as hell half the time. You're like, oh, finally someone who's happy to be out and playing for us.
Yeah. And hey to Neil in the comments, by the way, as well, mate. Thank you very much. He says we're a very handsome bunch.
He's not wrong. I'm looking around thinking stunners.
He's clearly been drinking.
The mojito won the poll.
How many people voted for that?
Well, to be fair, it wasn't a massive poll, Johnny. If I'm honest, it only had 9 responses.
I went for pina colada.
I know, and I'm sorry that didn't make it. The pina colada was the cocktail of choice for the last pod. But I've got to go with the public opinion, mate. I'm there for my public.
You're
I can't.
to your public.
Exactly. Yeah.
We also had a question from Ollie Trow1 on Twitter. He said, am I the only fan that just numbingly nods my head in acceptance when we score? We have 4th to play for, but I'm still distracted for the future of the club. Can a new manager make a difference? Can the board change their ideologies, or will it just be a rinse and repeat until they sell?
There's a lot to unpick on that one.
I think what he's
Um,
saying is, are we just going to repeat this pattern of scraping fourth place, winning no trophies under the current ownership, or is that too pessimistic? Are we actually building momentum to something meaningful now? It's a big question, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we have been rinsing and repeating, so it's, and we've been talking about that. I guess when we're discussing the next manager, that's a really important, like, decisive factor on where the direction of the football goes in terms of the ambition, though. I mean, clearly that comes from a manager as well. And we were talking earlier about the impact that has on whether Kane stays or goes. And clearly whether we finish top four of the season and what that allows you to be able to do in the summer and stuff with recruitment and maintain the kind of stay where we are, at least in terms of that bunch of clubs that are up at the top table vying for the trophies. But I mean, like we've said already before about the cup competitions and the missed opportunities we've had this year. So like there were sort of one. It's not that it was one-off games, but we had one-off games when, like the Sheffield United one, it's clearly the hardest one to take because Blackburn at home in the quarterfinals, like you know, so we could have potentially had a really good shout at the FA Cup. But in terms of how we move forward, in terms of, like, with the league though, and challenging for the league and doing any better than that, like, I just think we have to be realistic. I'm not saying you accept that you're never going to do it, like, but I mean, I'm from 50 and Tottenham haven't won the league anywhere near my lifetime.
Yeah,
So, like, you've got to be honest. Like, when and I'm not saying that we looked at Arsenal for all those years when they were top four was their trophy and everything else. Well, like they're now probably the favourites to win the league, I would say, and this time last year or in last May, we were looking more likely to have the better season this season. So you just don't know what's around the corner with good recruitment, with a manager that's playing better football. Like we're football supporters because we love the game of football. We'd go, like, I watched a Spanish second, third division match last week when I was in Spain. You just love the game, so you go to watch football that you enjoy. I'm not saying that you don't care about winning because it matters. It does really matter. But yeah, I'm kind of rambling. But I think at the end of the day, like you just want to see good football. You want to be challenging, and I think Tottenham have got so many things in place which the owners are responsible for enabling us to be in the situation with the infrastructure that we have, with the income that we have, being able to keep the players that we never would have been able to keep before, when Carrick and Berbatov and Modric and Bale, they all were sold. Like, we're not that kind of club anymore. So there is a big progression, and I think there's easily potential with a little bit of luck, with other teams having shit seasons, like that's kind of happened for Arsenal this year. Good recruitment, stick with a manager the way they've stuck with Arteta. Appoint somebody that maybe, I mean, it would be brilliant if it had worked with Poch, because obviously he already means a lot to the fans. So I think that, yeah, be positive about things. I think there's a lot that Spurs fans can look to feel. Yeah, we've got it. Could go the right way.
It's we all really want to win a trophy, and we want to win the Premier League or Champions League. But at the end of the day, to win those trophies, to win the Premier League, you're still going to have to beat Liverpool, Chelsea, City, and United, not individually, but all of those clubs at the same time. And whether we like it or not, United's revenue is 200 million more than us a year, like total revenue as a club. That is insane advantage they have. Just look at their bench, just loaded with 200k a week players. City, it's similar. It's over 200 million more. Liverpool, over 150 million more. The only real, like, comparable club that consistently is beating us this year is Arsenal in terms of revenue. And aside from that, over the last 10 years, we've consistently finished above the clubs that you could compare in terms of size. So it has been disappointing, and we do need to improve the recruitment, and we can win titles with really good recruitment. But I do think we need to find another way of just kind of enjoying the journey a bit. And I get that that's made much harder with shit defensive, overly sensible football. So that's easier said than done. Sorry,
No. I think as well. Then you get into the off the pitch type discussions that are going around what else is the stadium used for? NFL, Beyonce concerts, boxing, F1 go-karting track, and you actually think to yourself, well, what's wrong with that? If it drives more revenue into the organisation, what is wrong with that? Because I tell you what, when Beyonce's singing there, I'm not in the fucking ground. I don't care. What the fuck do I care what it's used for when I'm not there? As long as it's there, as long as it doesn't disrupt the football side of stuff, what does it matter? Use it for anything. Use it for, I don't know, cage fighting. Use it for Lions versus Christians. I don't give a monkey.
As
Do
long
whatever
as
you
the
want
money
in there.
comes back to us.
As long as the money goes into the club for use on the football and is available for use on the football side, what's the problem? That's my view on those revenue streams, because we can't compete with the others in the same way from the owners, so we have to drive a different revenue stream. And actually, if there's one thing that I will put my hands up and hang my hat on with Levy, is he's good at that side of the business. He's good at seeing opportunity.
But that side is exactly why I don't understand why everyone's always going on about it, because they're like, Levy needs to stop focusing on the football, which he did. He hired Paratici as the MD of football, and then they're still having to go at him for focusing on other revenue
Because he doesn't care about the
channels.
football.
And he doesn't care about the football. And you're like, you can't win. What do you want the guy to do?
And where's the evidence that this is the bit that confuses me? I get it. If we saw that 50 million quid was going into building a racetrack and that meant we weren't going to sign a centre back, I could completely understand the uproar. And Levy saying, oh, in 5 years we'll get the money back plus more. I completely was saying, I'm not waiting. I want you to spend now. But there's no evidence for any of that.
No.
There's nothing to say, if anything. So headcount since Prash's come in of football staff in Tottenham has risen exponentially. They've increased numerous roles to improve the scouting, recruitment, all those things. Spending is going up over the last 3 seasons consistently. We're spending about 150 million a season now since the stadium's been built on average. So that's a sign that the money's coming back into the club. Yeah. So do you think it's like a bit more of a kind of disconnection thing? Like people are like, no, Tottenham Hotspur is a football club. Yeah. I don't want to be associated with Beyonce. I don't want to be associated with F1 and the NFL.
I think it's just years of frustration of not winning a tournament, and now it's just they'll use anything to give Levy a beating.
Yeah, and I think coming back to the original question around, are we going to just do the cycle, finish fourth? I think actually what Levy needs to do, and maybe he does it behind the scenes, I don't know, but what he needs to do is say what is the end game. So the end game is that we are challenging for significant trophies year in, year out. Now, you might not be winning them, but you have to be in that ballpark, right? So we're regularly in challenging for the Premier League, Champions League, etc., etc. So that's your end goal, but you don't get there in one step, right? No organisation goes from 0 to 100 in one step. So then you have to set your strategic horizon. So then you have to say, right, so what's the first thing that we have to do in order to be on that journey? First thing we have to do is regularly get top 4. That's the first stage. The second stage, which is now, I think, is where we're sort of at, is now you need to be then challenging for the League Cup and FA Cup. You need to be in the semi-finals, get into the finals of those sort of competitions, like Man City did when they won the League Cup, and that helped push them on. But unless you're getting top 4, you're not going to attract the players that you need in order to push on to the next level. So whether we like it or not, finishing top 4 is really important to the strategic direction of the organisation, which is the football club. But now we need to win some silverware. We have that. Probably we're in the position now for the last 4 or 5 years where that's the case, to enable us to push on to achieving higher things on from there.
We've been in so many semi-finals and finals, so we just haven't.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
just got over the line, and we could have been again if it wasn't for the Sheffield United situation, and that happened, and that was. And you're looking at the selection there, you're looking at the in-match management in that game, and that's coming down to like a one-off game situation.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's where we are now, Johnny, is that
Yeah.
we can't say we prioritise the
No,
league over the
exactly.
FA Cup. That's not even a question now. They're both really, really, really
Yeah.
important because we have to win something.
Yeah.
We have to put some silverware into that dusty cabinet that we've got out the back, where the Audi Cup's feeling very lonely right now. And so we can't say, oh, we're going to rest some players here and push on in the league. You've got to do both now because we've got the players, we've got the money behind us. Okay, we're not money of the top four, but we're spending money. Let's not kid ourselves. We just, to Jim's point, the recruitment in the last 3 or 4 years has been pretty poor, and which is why with Paratici, the growth of that side of the business, the football side of the business, is increased because it's all around the scouting and the recruitment side that has made him so successful at Juventus. He's going to want to replicate that. So that's where I think also let's think that maybe that setup might have been in place for what, a year. By the time Paratici's come in, done his recruitment for his departments, got them up and running and up to speed, that's been up and running effectively for probably a year. Not 2 years.
Yeah. I'm still a bit jury's out with whether the recruitment's dramatically improved, because Bentancur and
I'm not
Kulusevski were
convinced.
great, but the others, Perisic was pretty woeful.
Yeah.
The others, I'm not seeing anyone who's standing out. Sorry, Stu, what were you saying?
I was going to say, but Perisic was clearly a backing your manager signing.
Yeah.
Because that was Conte's man, and we brought him in.
Yeah. And he hasn't come out and said, "I fucked that one up," have I?
No, exactly.
No, I mean that certainly wasn't a club signing.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's a good point. And,
Well, I mean, it's again, we don't know like what's going to happen next year with Udogie, what's going to happen with Sarr, what's going to happen. Is Spence going to get another opportunity with a different manager? You know, that we've said it before many times that Kulusevski's still really young, Bentancur's really young, Skips, and they're becoming. There's a lot of really, there's a lot of potential with the young players to be very, very. So, and if you look at the crowd down the road again, and that's sort of the route they've taken, and you've talked about that yourself, Jim, about the signings we've made, we've had before, like the Walker and you know, like back in within the Pochettino era, and you know, we ended up having to sell Walker, but like Trippier comes in as well. Like, you know, there's a lot to. It is ridiculous how we kind of our mood has changed because we've beaten Nottingham Forest, but when you
it's a little bit of an overreaction maybe, but we're going to fucking win the league.
Yeah,
and everyone's now 1 game a week. He's going to win 10 out of 12. Fucking hell, we can't get rid of him.
Yeah, could happen.
Well,
fourth isn't good enough anymore.
Yeah. Liverpool and United are doing everything possible to help us. It was 0-0 today, wasn't it? Casemiro will miss 4 games with his red card.
Nice.
And he is without Eriksen as well. Yeah, got another straight red. It's second red card in the season that equals a 4-game ban.
Wow.
So
does it really?
Matches. Yeah, and Eriksen's obviously out. So they're without their they're without
huge.
the best defensive midfielder and best creative player. So it's their thirds there for the taking. Like, what the fuck?
What is it? It's almost every season there's a fight for who doesn't want fourth. So, who's going to throw it away the worst?
But the thing is, like, when people are talking about this run of fixtures that we've got now, and especially the media who aren't like Tottenham supporters, but you're like, okay, I'd always be nervous playing Brighton. I know that's at home, so that would make me feel a little bit more optimistic. Southampton away is never an easy game. Well, it can be an easy game, but they've actually got some like players that can do damage, and like they're obviously right down the bottom fighting for, as are Everton and as are Bournemouth. So, and look what they did yesterday. So, I mean, I don't want to say the word Spursy, but like you talk about this run of games as if it's kind of like, okay, we should win them. Our players are better, like they were better than Sheffield United's, but it's very much a like week by week thing. And I would feel quite confident that we definitely should get to top 4, and I think we probably will. But I think it's going to be quite a hairy journey as it has been before, and I would be surprised if we come through all of those games, too comfortably, I think they'll be pretty difficult. I mean, it's the Premier League, isn't it? And it's just not easy.
We did our best to make Forrest yesterday a close one.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, imagine if they scored that penalty.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I fucking hate that Spursy. But it's a reason why it's now a verb in the English language.
Yeah.
It's because it's happened too many
It's
bloody
true.
times.
Yeah.
And I hate it. And every time I hear the Gooners talk about it, and it's like, yeah, you're Spursy. Well, I think, Jim, you were posting in the group earlier on. They were top at Christmas when they lost the league. When they lost the league to Leicester, but apparently we lost the league to Leicester, even though they were top the mugs.
We're the bottle jobs
season.
for challenging Man City out of nowhere with less money and Man United with fun. We're the bottle jobs for crashing their little party and becoming a challenger, rather than the scrappy, fair play. They built up naturally. They organically did it. If Liverpool does it, everyone's can't get enough of their crevices, can they? They're hanging out the back of them. But for us, everyone hates it. It's because I think the media is so full of Liverpool, Man United, and Chelsea and City, because they're the biggest clubs, fan base wise, that they can't stand the fact someone else might come in and cause that little party some trouble. That's been so comfortable for such a long time.
It's the same with the managers as well. Like, I mean, especially I know that Liverpool had their big win last weekend and everything else, but like Klopp is kind of gotten away pretty unscathed, or very lightly, I think, in terms of the criticism from the media. And I know that same with Graham Potter. Like, if you just look at the league table and you look, I know that's a complete mess. Like at the moment, who knows? Like they could come good quite quickly, but like if it was Tottenham, I'm sorry, I don't think I'm being paranoid. Like I suppose when you got a manager like Conte and he's good kind of copy, but like so is Klopp, and then like just think it is a bit. That's what people are trying. Why are people so like obsessed, or why are people so interested in talking about Tottenham when there's things that aren't going well? Like look at the league table, mate. I'm sorry. Actually, even though we've not been great this season, we are still.
And that's still the nuts thing about it, isn't it? We're sitting here.
Yeah.
We're 2 points off third.
Yeah.
It's mad.
We're 2 points off third, and we've had a season that we want to forget, really, and we could still finish top three.
Yeah.
Isn't that a sign that
our expectations have changed, fellas?
It's mad, and I think we're our own worst enemy with that. Like we could enjoy Tottenham so much more than we do if we just soaked it in and enjoyed the season for a season instead of always worrying about. But it is the media have got on our heads, isn't it? They've chipped away at us for so long. Sorry, Stu.
I don't know. I think it's just our fan base as well. We tend to be such a negative fan base. Like the WhatsApp groups I'm in, on Twitter. The Earth's, the sky in, alligator. None of our players are good to get in the top half side, and you're thinking this is a team, and these players haven't finished lower than 7th, and the average is probably about 5th for the last decade. We're not bad. 95 other teams in the league, in the country would love to be in the position we're in. I mean, guys, get some realism here.
Everything's either shit or amazing, isn't it? It's like after the win this Saturday, like now we're all like, we're going to win 10 of our last 12. Everything's amazing. And the week before it was get rid of Conte in the next 24 hours, complete reset, start again, we're fucked. And it's just, there's no just common sense of we're actually pretty good. And we could probably move forward as a club if a load of money came in and our ownership changed or whatever. But the current ownership isn't this disaster that some people make it out to be either. It's just they keep us in the top 6 and we bumble along in there. Yeah, I get it. You want to beat Man City year after year. They're probably not the right people. We need to upgrade. I
think from the recruitment point of view and looking at the summer, if we are in the Champions League next season, again, there's things we talked about before, but there are very obvious areas that need to be upgraded or have replacements. But it isn't wholesale changes, I don't think. No. I think that is as much of a challenge is what trying to make sure that Lo Celso, I personally wouldn't want to give him another chance, or Ndombele, and I don't know if another manager would want to. But, there are very obvious areas. The defense is the big area that is letting us down, and the lack of creativity. depending on the system. Obviously, the Conte system, it's not something that's sort of built in that works with the way he wants to play football. So, but there are so many players who are there who can adapt to other ways of playing and don't need massive changes, I don't think,
No, I don't
to.
think so.
So, yeah,
No. We
If
saw
you
it with
think
the
about,
Goonies, didn't
if
we?
you think,
Oh, go on,
yeah,
sorry, Sam.
if you think about who we've got out at the moment, see, Benton Cobb, beautiful player, but he's out. Basuma out. If you've got a midfield of Sarr, Skip, Højbjerg, Basuma, and Benton Core to choose from, that's
Yeah.
that's a decent
Oh, yeah.
option there,
Yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt. Now you could argue it's how many more seasons has Sonny got in him at that very top level, maybe 1, 2 at a push. You're going to want to you've got to do something with those centre backs. I'm not sure that Lenglet's a long-term option at that left-sided centre-back. And Dyer, bless him, we love him, but he's not a top 2, top 3 team centre-back, is he? He's got some deficiencies
No,
there.
he's an all
And I
right
think
squad player, isn't he? But
Sanchez.
I think what Romero needs alongside him as well is he needs a steady head alongside him to allow him to play that sort of that aggressive game that he plays. And I don't think Dyer is that level-headed guy next to him that we need a sort of Van Dijk type figure there in the middle of those three. So I think 2 centre backs. I think you need to do something on that left wing as well. So Davis isn't long term,
But-
Perisic isn't long term.
Udogie's
We've got
coming in.
Udogie coming in,
Yeah.
who looks good, but you need a decent backup there,
Yeah.
right? I think Porro and Emerson on the other side, that does us for a few seasons.
the issue
Without
is
a
though,
doubt.
like we see us. If you follow history, we now spend about 100 million in the summer and about 50 in January, going over the last 3 years. So that's probably going to happen again, right? We need a goalkeeper.
If we get Champions League.
That's going to use 50 million quid. You've got one other position to get. You'd probably go for the centre back, wouldn't you?
You got to go centre
Yeah,
back.
you go centre back, and then you'd say in January, let's see how Udogi's getting on and all that. And do we need James Maddison? Like, who is it?
Well, what happened to that other drawdown of the shares? Has that been made available again? Because we didn't draw down all of those shares that they made available.
Oh, it was
in this
extended,
last year,
so they
right?
can draw it down. So yeah, it's about
50 million,
40 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We can.
But I think
it
the
just
key.
depends.
Go on,
on,
So I was going to say
Stu.
the key thing I think is getting Champions League, because we can't afford to spend another 150 million if we don't get Champions League. Simple as that.
That's true. That's true.
As far as FFP is concerned, what have we got in the kitty? We've got
Oh,
probably
we're
about 400 million, haven't we?
Yeah.
We're not going to be pushing FFP anywhere near. So, I mean, they could throw some money at it in the summer. It depends. I wonder if they guarantee to give Conte some money in the summer to get the players that he wants, whether that's the thing that makes him stay if we get top 4. And I'm not saying that I want him to stay, because I don't think it's right for us long term as a club that he stays. But you could see that happening, by the way.
Well,
You could see us getting top 4, Levy guaranteeing him 250 million in the summer, saying get 2 centre backs to get me 2 decent centre backs, and then wherever else, and then a goalkeeper, 2 decent centre backs, and then we're not far away from stuff, But then we've got to watch this turgid crap for another year.
Yeah. Well, we could also announce a stadium sponsorship deal and free up another 50 million quid a season out of that.
Or maybe we get sponsored by Riyadh Air.
Yeah. Yeah, that bullshit. It's gonna great. As someone else said, wasn't it? Wow, what a great profitable industry to launch with someone.
Yeah, I think that was Adam on the group where Adam was saying, yeah. Renowned industry for making bundles of profit, the airlines.
Yeah, just for context, anyone listening, so Newcastle's owners are announcing an airline that they're going to be starting up in today's economy. So they're going to end up sponsoring Newcastle for an obscene amount of money, in the same way that Man City's sponsors do.
Mm-hmm.
So
anyway.
But we're probably going to need to wrap up in a second. I'll leave it on the final question, which has been a bit of debate lately, is do you think we keep Kane this season or cash in if we finish 4th? Like not what your preference is, but what do you think is going to happen?
So, do you know? I don't think either of those things. I don't think he goes on a free. I don't think we cash in. I think if we finish 4th, I think he stays. I think he finishes his career with us. I think he's Tottenham through and through. I think he loves the place. I don't think I don't think he wants to go, but we have to have a certain set of circumstances to allow him to stay, if you like. And that's got to be Champions League. Who knows about the manager? If Poch comes back, I think reading in the press, he's still got a very good relationship with Poch. So I don't know. But I honestly think that he stays, and I think he sees his career out with us. There you go. You heard it here first, chaps.
What about you, Jonny and Stu?
I think. I hope he stays and signs a contract. Even if he signs a contract with a get-out clause, as long as he signs the contract, because I think it would be a disaster if he stayed and left on a free. Because financially, to replace him with a decent striker who is guaranteed goals is going to cost us an absolute fortune. We already have enough areas in the squad that we need to focus on. So, I just think it's horrible to say, we're talking about Kane, record goal scorer of the club, but financially we have to also think about that. And, as much as we want him to stay next season, even if he guarantees us another fourth again for the Champions League, is it enough? I think it's a big gamble to take, hoping that his loyalty to the club, and let's, I'm sorry, but let's not forget his loyalty to the club. He went on strike trying to force a move. So I don't buy into this. He loves the club. He's loyal to us. He wants to see us out. He wants to win trophies. And after that strike, I don't know what his relationship is like with the board anymore. And if he's like, screw you guys.
Yeah. What about if we kidnap one of the kids?
Yeah.
Would you go for the youngest one, or would the oldest one and probably be a bit more resilient? Yeah.
Oldest one, because he had more time to build up the relationship to miss him more.
Oh, do you know what? That hurts more, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, like, Stu, what do you think would happen? Like, if he was sold in the summer, how much do you think you're going to get from him? Where is he going to go? Like, that's another conversation we had before about, where he's likely to go. Personally, I don't see him going anywhere outside of England with the Shearer thing. And we've gone, like, he's not going to go to City. He's obviously not going to go to Arsenal. I know Jim ended the previous podcast mentioning Chelsea, and it isn't impossible. I don't see him going to Liverpool. So, like, United is really the only obvious, and I don't think he's going to go to Newcastle, because although Newcastle would have the money and could maybe make an offer that Tottenham would, to consider or accept, like, they're not anywhere closer to trophies at the moment than we are.
I think,
and it's still pretty much abroad, right? Newcastle, it's almost abroad.
Yeah. So I think, like, how much are you going to get from him if you go into United?
Yeah,
I think we'll still manage to get at least 80 million for him, because at the end of the day, it's still, he's still got the market. And I think he's got two choices. I think that Liverpool might be in for him.
You think?
Really?
Because there's, talk of Salah going. They're going to need a striker. And United, I've seen some talk about, why would he go to United? It's pretty much a sideways move. Guys,
No, it's not.
I love Spurs, but Man U's a bigger club than we are.
Yeah.
They just won a cup. They've got a young manager in who's got everyone positive again. It is an attractive.
It's Man United, as I hate them saying or they call it Manchester United. They never say Man United, do they, on the broadcast? And it pisses me off. But that's the thing is, people don't realise, like, if you go sign for Man United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, it's not just about your salary. It's the fact your brand has now quadrupled in size overnight.
Yeah.
And you are set for life. Like, being a Tottenham legend like Ledley King, he sat there with like 12,000 followers on Twitter, waving in front of like a painting in North London. If you are, Benzema's going to retire with, millions of followers, a global brand behind him, clothing, like, it just is what it is. And I appreciate we're a lot bigger than we were in those days under Ledley. But there is that draw.
I just don't know if he fits Ten Hag's system now. I mean, we talked about this last time. I'm just not sure at his age. But then he wouldn't play. He wouldn't play so many games under Ten Hag either. He would get. He wouldn't have it in his contract that he has to play every game, which I think he must have in our contract. Yeah. But so he gets rested more. I don't know whether he fits the system. I can't. Liverpool, for me, Stu, they need to spend elsewhere in the summer. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think they're okay. I think they're comfortable. Even if Salah goes, I think they think they can ride it out with their front line. They've got 4 to choose from up there. That I think they'll be okay. I think they need to strengthen in the middle of their of the park, and I think they'll spend. They'll get a marquee signing into the middle of their midfield
Yeah,
in
I
some
agree.
shape or form, an 80-90 million pound signing there.
Mhm.
And then so I think it could be Man United, but I think that's the only place.
Yeah,
I don't think Levy does business with Chelsea this summer on Kane, so he
But
could
the
go
thing
there on a
is, like,
free.
if
He
Man
could go
United,
there on a free.
if Man United comes fifth behind us this season, then the thing with Kane is he needs an immediate move that's going to bring something immediately because he's going to be 31. So
Yeah.
I kind of feel like what Levy's going to end up doing is saying, you're not going anywhere. You're going to sit here for 12 more months and we're going to hopefully show you that we're on the right trajectory to win something in the next year or two. And I know Kane's been feeling that way now consistently for about 10 years. But I think that's going to be his only game plan because you sell him for 80 million quid. What does that get you in this inflated market? Like, what can we
Which
buy
is
for
why he
that?
doesn't go to
Why he doesn't go to
Richarlison's. Newcastle.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to Newcastle because they've got us in the next 3 or 4 years. They've probably got slightly better chance than us, maybe, of winning something, but it's not significantly
No.
better than us chance of winning something. The only place you go where you're almost guaranteed better odds of winning stuff in this country is going to be City, Liverpool, maybe Man United, depending on where they finish and what they do. They're the only 3 is viable options, I think.
Mm.
Chelsea, oh God, could you imagine them
Unless
running out in royal blue?
No, I'd
unless
struggle
it's
to go over
true
that.
that
That'll be tough.
can you imagine if Real Madrid did come in for Haaland, as
Yeah,
rumored in the
that's
summer?
another.
That's true.
Yeah, when does his release clause kick in? Is it this summer or next summer? Because he's got a release in there, but
Yeah,
it triggers.
I think it's this summer. At least that
Is it
I
really?
read a rumor that Real were coming in for this summer.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm
No,
not, you know, I'm not
Kane's
sure.
actually 29. He's not 30. He's
Oh, is it?
He's 30 this summer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 30 this summer. So there's like easily 4 or 5 seasons still.
Yeah, but
Um,
we're gonna see his role change more and more, aren't we? I think
Yeah.
he's gonna be that Rooney kind of type of player that
Yeah.
he slips further back into midfield.
Yeah.
So
Which is, I think in that respect, he might be able to work with United. And as I think Si was saying, I don't think he's going to be playing. He's nowhere going to be playing anywhere near as many games as he does for Tottenham. You know,
And therein then lies his conundrum. So he's not going to be playing as many games for United, but he wants the record.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
So to get the
yeah.
record, you've got to play.
That's true. That's true.
He's going to play every game at Tottenham. And
Yeah.
I know the loyalty question is you could throw it in the bin, but I wonder whether that's a driver for him, that he's where his family's there, he's close. Maybe he's got to the point where he's gone, actually, I don't need to be anywhere else.
Yeah, you never know. You get
That's
to that
what
point
I'm
in your
going with
career,
anyway.
don't you? Like everyone's had it. You start your job, and then you're all young and enthusiastic. I need to be a VP by the time I'm 30 years old, and blah blah blah. Then after
And
a
you
while,
make sacrifices early in your career that you wouldn't make later on in your career, right?
And then you go, actually, my family over here now, I've got kids and stuff. I don't want to disrupt that.
One of
I'm
them's
willing
been
to let
kidnapped
my
by
career
the
get
Oso
go,
Spurs team, so I need to be careful.
Yeah. I've actually got I was completely on the side of he's definitely going, and now I'm on the side of no, actually, there's a decent chance he'll stay. And weirdly, whether it's right or wrong, I actually think there's this slither of there's about a 10% chance for some reason Conte might even stay at the end of the season. Much more unlikely than likely, but I think Kane will actually have a bit of a deciding factor on things on that front. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to wrap it up there, lads. But it was a good chat. So as you predicted, 10 wins out of 12, was it, Si?
Minimum.
Yeah, I want to see you putting that on
Piss
social
it, mate.
media, calling it
Might
out.
finish second. Who knows? We'll be talking about second place in a few weeks.
I read today that we're 3 points ahead of where we were after 27 games last season.
Yeah.
Which was
So
really surprising.
So for the next pod, I've been doing a spreadsheet, and I haven't kept it up to date for the past 3 or 4 weeks. But I've been doing a spreadsheet where I put the same games that we've played against the opposition in there. Up until about 5 or 6 weeks ago, we were 6 points ahead, like for like, on games.
Wow.
To last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as bad as we think. I think we entered the season with Conte in this phase thinking we're going to challenge for the title now. We're going to spend 100 million quid in the summer. We're going to chat, and then finishing fourth, which is actually kind of we've stopped the rot, but we're not progressing. Like we're just remaining flat, and that just feels infuriating.
Jim, but if Conte would have said, "I'm here, I'm desperate to make a success of this club. I'm going to sign a new contract. I'm fully invested. I love the place. These fans are brilliant. I'm in love with Levy. Whatever." Then actually we're behind him 100%. Nobody's slagging him off. It's the fact that he sits there with all these cryptic fucking messages. Fucking hell, man. Just say what you want to say and do one or stay.
What makes it worse is the football is just so dire.
Yeah.
I think if we were playing decent football, then there'd be a lot more patience. It's just the fact it's horrible.
And what makes it worse is Arsenal are 5 points clear, whatever, at top of the league.
Some good news for you boys. And the Wolves have just equalised against Newcastle as well. Although I'm not particularly worried about them, but that's nice to see them. I saw there's a league table of the last 7 games. Newcastle are bottom.
Oh wow!
So I don't think people realise how much they've fallen off a cliff. Yeah, so that's good to see.
Good
I
stuff.
heard there's another Trippier assist though for their goal.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I think he'd have been a good option for us this season, but there you go.
Yeah,
he's not. So we'll wrap it up there, boys. It was a lovely chat. Thanks
Always
for
a
dropping
pleasure.
in. I hope you all have a cracking remainder of your Sunday, and I'll catch.
Fantastic.
We'll catch
I'm
up
off to the
midweek.
pool.
Yes, yeah. And we'll be doing we'll do a preview show for the West Ham game at so the Southampton game during the week.
Cool.
I've got a couple of Saints fans who are willing to drop in as well and give us a bit of an overview of what they're
brilliant,
what they're doing this season and how things are. So yeah,
nice one, fellas.
All right, well, up the
Cheers.
Spurs.
All the
Go
best.
Spurs.